started actually in 2005. I got an Epstein-Barr virus infection, and after 3 days, my whole body got so heavy and I felt so weak. I was waiting for 8 weeks, lying down, couldn't do nothing, had these strange symptoms. And since there were no smartphones and no laptops at the time, I took the landline phone into my bed and tried to stay in contact with my team and with my clients. And I was very, very upset what is going on with myself. In January, I was in Switzerland in the mountains on my own in an apartment, and I went for walks each day, and walking in the snow is difficult. Yeah, it's more difficult than without snow.
Yeah.
That was great because I had to walk very slowly, but I was very proud of myself to walk through the snow. It was cold and so on. And in February, we had a long family walk, and that was the longest.
How's it going, guys? Miguel here from CFS Recovery. In this video, we have Susanne all the way from Germany, 57 years old, and she's absolutely crushing it. She's somebody who's dealt with CFS for a very long time, around 17 years. And just a few months ago when she started, she's in a very different place than she is today. She is out there living life now, but I don't want to spoil too much. Susanne, you want to quickly introduce yourself to everybody here?
Hi. I'm Susanne. I'm from Nuremberg, Germany. Like Miguel said, I'm 57 years old. I'm married with 2 grown-up daughters and 3 grandchildren. I've got my own business for personal and organizational development.
Excellent, excellent. And Susanne, I remember when we first chatted not too long ago. I think it was about 4 or 5 months ago when we had our chat for you to start working with us. You're in a very different place than you are now, but let's go back in time just so people understand, where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. You first got sick. It was about 17 years ago, right? And you were completely
years.
19. Yeah. So a long time where you were living within this certain limitation, right? Mm-hmm. So during that time, what was it like going through all of that? Were you functional? You sick most of the time? What did that look like the first few years you were sick?
Yeah, it started actually in 2005. I got an Epstein-Barr virus infection. The family had a cold and I had only a sore throat. And after 3 days, my whole body got so heavy and I felt so weak. And it was as if I have lead metal in my arms and in my legs. And it was a strong pressure on my head and a pain in the facial bones, a very, very strange feeling. And the doctor said, oh, it doesn't matter, it's only a virus. And you are a busy working mom, relax and wait. And I was waiting for 8 weeks, lying down, couldn't do nothing, had these strange symptoms. And since there were no smartphones and no laptops at that time, I took the landline phone into my bed and tried to stay in contact with my team and with my clients. And I was very, very upset what is going on with myself. But after these 8 weeks, everything was normal again. I could work, I could hike. It was fine. Yeah? But from that time, each time when there was a cold or a flu in the family, I only got a sore throat. And then again, after 3 days, these heavy feelings, this lead metal in my arms and legs and so on. And it was about 5 years, 4 times a year. And I always said it's a weak immune system. And at that time, I did everything to have a good immune system, fresh air, good food and so on. But it got worse and worse until 2014. These symptoms came each month for 1 week, yeah, but it had nothing to do with my period. It was regularly I always after 3 weeks I said, oh, it might come not this time, yeah, but it came, yeah, and then I started to go to different doctors and to general doctors and internists and neurologists, and they did different blood tests and
yeah, I remember on your application, just some of the things you tried. It was supplements, Ayurveda, psychotherapy, traditional Chinese medicine, homeopathy, acupuncture, and also the blood therapy, right? Is that the blood cycling? Yeah, because that's
Not
popular.
it's a therapy with your own blood. The doctor takes blood of you and he puts it again into your body, but it's not the whole blood transfusion. It's only a little bit of blood what they
Yeah.
take. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what were the doctors saying when you're coming back to them with all these different issues? Most of the
Mhm.
time, the doctors they tell people you're perfectly fine or take this medication. What were they saying to you?
The general doctors and the internists, they told me it's everything fine with you. And then they started to ask, it might be a hidden depression. It might be a somatic depression. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I went also to a neurologist and they were looking at the head, the brain and the muscles, if everything with the nerve system is okay. And it was also okay. And the neurologist also thought it might be a somatic depression. And at a certain time, one doctor, I trusted him very much. He told me, he recommended me highly to do a psychotherapy. But I thought, I don't have a depression. I'm very motivated. I'm a happy person. I feel I'm mentally absolutely healthy. But more and more doctors recommended me to go to even to a psychosomatic rehab, what I finally did in 2015. And at that clinic, they treated me as if I have burnout, yeah. But I was also very convinced I have no burnout. And during that 5 weeks, I tried to convince them that I'm mentally healthy, and what I finally achieved. The clinic director confirmed me in writing down, you are mentally healthy, and he recommended me to go to a diagnostic clinic in Germany. And then after that, I stopped working completely because before I went to this psychosomatic clinic, I needed always somebody who drove me to the clients, and I needed an assistant or an intern who helped me with the flip charts or with the stuff, what I had to do, so that I could sit and talk to the clients. I wanted to give up my business, so at that time, I took painkillers and I drank a lot of black tea to keep me upright. Yeah, and the adrenaline shot in, and I was working. I'm not sure if it was okay at that time, but mentally it was very good that I kept on working. Yeah, but
Mhm.
at 2018, I stopped working and I delegated everything to my colleagues. And at 2019, I got the diagnosis of a severe special form of migraine.
Hmm.
This was,
Okay.
yeah. And
Yeah.
the medication,
Yeah.
and the medication I got, it had very strong side effects. So I couldn't take it any longer and I stopped it. And the doctors at the diagnostic clinic recommended me also to go to the CFS Center of Germany in Berlin, in Charité. There is the Chronic Fatigue Center, and there is also the authority for chronic fatigue syndrome in Germany, Professor Carmen Scheibenbogen. I trust her a lot, or trusted her a lot. Yeah, I thought she knows what's going on, and but it was almost impossible to get an appointment in Berlin, so I still had to wait. And
Mhm.
at that time, I started to Google a lot about chronic fatigue syndrome. And then I found these horrible stories of people who are severely sick and lying down and so on. And I couldn't find anything what helped me. So I finally got to Berlin. Don't ask me how I got this appointment, but they gave me the diagnosis of chronic fatigue syndrome. And they told me, it was horrible, it is not curable. And
Wow.
at your age, it is almost impossible to get better. It might even get worse. Yeah. And
Wow.
the
And this
only
is
thing what you can,
2018? Is this
this
2018
was
around the time?
2019. Yeah,
2019.
2019. I
Got
got
it.
this diagnosis. And on the one hand, I was a little bit relieved because I belonged to a community. Yeah, I was not alone. And asking myself, what do I have? What is? I always thought there is a horrible illness in my body, what can't be diagnosed yet. Yeah, but then I thought, okay, CFS is also a little bit, but it was a community. They had this website and so on. And on the other hand, I was very desperate. What shall I do now with my life? Yeah, shall I stop working or what shall I do? And they recommended doing pacing to keep the status quo. That means do a lot of breaks. But I found nothing, no guideline how to do pacing. I Googled in Germany. I found at that time no idea how to do pacing. Yeah, and then I Googled all around the world, and I found a material in Australia, in UK. They have ME Action. They have a lot of stuff in the internet. And then I found Raylan Egel. And I listened to her recovery interviews, her story. I read her book, but I couldn't identify with all these stories. They were all completely different to mine. So it was also not so helpful. And then I found the baseline concept, which says you have to keep your energy, your level for 14 days. And when you can keep your energy level for 14 days, you can increase your activity. And believe me, I tried that out for 3 years, and I never reached those 14 days. Yeah, it was
very
always
rigid, right? It's so rigid.
Yeah.
Like you'd make it close
Yeah.
to 14 days, but if you don't make it, you got to restart, right? That's wild.
And each time when I got a crash or the symptoms, I felt very guilty, and I thought, oh, did I watch 10 minutes too long TV, or was the call with my friend too intensive, or whatever? And each time when I got the symptoms and I had to lie down and had these horrible feelings, I thought I had the feeling it got even worse each time. Yeah. And I guess it was 2020 when the symptoms came very regularly each Wednesday or each Thursday for 7 days. And then they came 7 half good days. And at that half good days, I tried to be very, very careful, not to walk too much, not to go too many steps in the house. And what I missed most at that time was going on walks with my family, for example. And it was also the time I got a wheelchair, an electronic wheelchair, that I can go for walks with the family. And my husband and I, we are a very good team. He supports me a lot, and we always had ideas how to make my life a little bit nicer for me, because I was really only at the couch or in the bed, or on good days we drove with the car and went for visits and had always a sunbed and the wheelchair, and every 20 minutes we stopped and I could lay down completely flat. That the symptoms got better. That was the life.
Wow. And what kind of symptoms were you dealing with? I mean, I'm sure it fluctuated throughout all these years, but saying around 2020, when you had to start using a wheelchair more, what kind of symptoms were you dealing with?
Yeah, very weak legs and dizziness. I got dizzy when I kept my head upright. I couldn't sit upright like this. Also, when we had our first call, I had to.
I remember that.
on my head. Yeah, and in November I started to practice having my head upright. Yeah, this was a symptom. Also, these POTS might be the symptom. The name of the symptom: restless legs in the night, insomnia, and the strongest symptom is really this pressure on the facial bones. Yeah, this is. And all these diffuse headaches.
Yeah.
Are the most the strongest symptoms. Yeah.
In terms of level of functioning, I think since 2018 or 2019, you were housebound, right? For the most part, you didn't really leave the house much. Wow, and that is so wild that to this day, maybe because CFS is newer, but the CFS specialist clinic in Germany, they told you that you can't get better and that it'll likely get worse or you can't recover at this age, which is insane. But what did that do to you? Like when they told you that, what was your reaction? I know you said there was some relief, but also you didn't stop searching for answers. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You couldn't accept that, right?
Yeah.
What was your mindset?
The relief was 5% and 80% was desperation. And a little bit was, I have to accept what life brings me. Yeah. That is my challenge now. Yeah. At that time, I had some very, very sad hours. Yeah. And sometimes I thought, what is life for me? What is my purpose? I still worked also lying in bed with my laptop. Working was talking to some clients and going on with, I have a mentorship program for leaders, and I talk to the mentees and the mentors, and every time when I was felt good, I could go ahead with these calls, but always I felt guilty because I thought I make my situation worse. I had a very, very strong conflict. And what helped my mental situation very good was the mindfulness program of John Kabat-Zinn. I don't know if you know him. He's the founder of the mindfulness movement in the United States in the 70s. He's famous in the mindfulness community. And the next was Eckhart Tolle, the book, The Power of Now. That was really, really helpful, because even when I was lying down, had this horrible pain, couldn't turn around in bed, I could say to myself, it's a wonderful bedroom here, a great view to the forest. I have a great support from my husband. Yeah, I have my children. My father is healthy. It's everything okay. And this is my way now, and I have to accept it. And this was really, really good. I had to, to cry less when I got in a bad situation, because I had this acceptance and this gratefulness for what I have. And this was really good. And also the solutions to do small visits at the family's, at my daughter's house or at my father's house, and also my husband, who always found a solution to drive me anywhere. And so we had a good concept with, I had, as a disabled and also happy person. Yeah. So it was my situation.
Yeah. It really tested your mindset, really, really tested your mindset. So even before you found us, there was such a long journey that you went on, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of dark times you had to go through, especially starting around 2018 and 2019, 2020, the wheelchair comes, and then you're basically housebound for a handful of years. So when did you come across CFS Recovery? When did you come across my content?
That was last year, at the beginning of last year. I still, I realized that there are more and more CFS recovery stories, more programs, more people who offer also brain retraining programs. But at that time, I didn't know what it is, a brain retraining program. And I found you and there's a new guy. And it sounded interesting to me, what you told. And it was very well explained. But when you watch at that time this video and that video, you get the information, but you can't do something for you what helps you. So it was only another information for me. And last year I met at another clinic where I was at a CFS specialist from Sweden, and I met Felicitas there. And she told me some months later that she will join your program. And when she joined, she told me about this nervous system and how it works. And I got more and more curious. And then I watched more videos. And even in September, I bought your book. And this was really my first Mindshift click. Yeah. This book was really good. I got into your situation. I identified with your phases you went through and so on, and also your Mindshift click. And then I thought, I smiled, and it's just the nervous system. Yeah, it sounds so easy. Yeah. And I stood up from my bed and went to my husband in the kitchen. Even I had the pain and this, and it's just the nervous system.
Oh, really?
Asked, are you crazy? And I told him about it. And then I watched more videos about the brain, and because it's not so easy to understand when you are no doctor or so. And that was when I came across your channel, and then I decided to do a program, but because I always thought I need a coach. It's also I do the pacing like this, and there's that, and I do restoring breaks and healing breaks, and nothing worked. I do a lot of meditation and so on. and it doesn't get better. I need a coach. And then I looked at different programs. One, there is a woman at my age. I thought it might be the best. And there is another guy who offers a program. He has also German coaches. I thought it might be this, and I tried these programs out. And then I talked to Felicitas again, and she said, "I think you need Miguel and his team." And this was the time. Yeah, but I need to go step by step to do such a thing and to make this decision. I bought the guide of Liz. Liz, Heal with Liz.
Yeah.
She checked 20 programs and she recommended your program the most because the support in your program is the closest. This one-to-one coachings and the small teams. And then I did a free training, and I got to know all these wonderful coaches at your team. And then I made the appointment with you.
Yeah. And I remember that. I remember our first call, and you mentioned earlier you were leaning back on the couch. You couldn't even sit up straight. And even that call was quite draining on you. I remember Thomas was there, your husband. And, you know, it's so cool because that was only, what is that, 5 months ago? Just over 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the initial things you said, and I remember there were some tears on that call, but it was to, you know, be more active with the grandchildren, go on long walks with them, spend quality time, but you couldn't do it at the time because you were so limited. But when you know, decided to do it, because I remember we had a chat and then you took a few days to think about it. And then you're like, okay, you know what, let's go all in. I'm ready. What was your first big breakthrough when you came on board? Because I remember you had some early breakthroughs, but what was the big win that you were like, wow, this really works? You know, this is amazing. What was that for you?
What I really appreciated very much was the small group, 6 people, 2 coaches, and what Junior told us and Krista, forget everything you got to know about CFS before. I canceled all memberships in forums and so on. And then and they say you will start to increase activity first when you are 100% convinced that you will recover. That was very important. And the first exercise was the most important for me. We had to write down all our negative thoughts regarding the past, the present, and the future. I did that. And then I reframed it into positive statements. And then I thought, wow, that is really powerful. And I wanted to anchor this in myself. So I recorded my statements as affirmations. And from that time, from November until now, I listen to these positive affirmations each day. And what also was very, very important was this vision board and to write down vision stories. Yeah. And I started with very, very small stories. A walk with my husband, a longer talk with my father, and so on. Small goals. And I did that also for 6 or 8 weeks, each day, one small story. Also the letter to my future self. It was so important. Did these things, I could imagine how it feels to be more active. And Junior asked me at our call, our one-to-one call, how convinced you are you at the moment? And I said 90%. And he said, no, we have to wait a little bit. And then I found another good thing. Jen Rodney, she wrote the book Breaking Free, and I bought the audiobook. And she has the same material as you, but her voice was so good. I listened to it each day, 5 times 10 minutes, and it was very helpful. And the biggest breakthrough was when I was with my husband in Switzerland. We visited the grandchildren, and he waited with the children in front of the house with the wheelchair. We wanted to go to the playground. And I stood in front of the elevator alone on my own on the 5th floor, and the elevator didn't come. And I thought, what shall I do now? I have no phone with me. And then I started to walk step by step with wobbly knees, and it worked. And I got weaker and weaker, and I almost fell into the wheelchair. And my husband said, what are you doing? And I said, now you have to be proud of me. I walked so long like I a long time never did it before. And then I lost the fear of walking. This was really the biggest mind shift for me, because when he said, let's go a little bit along the way to the forest, and I said, no, I might get dizzy, and I didn't dare to walk only at the patio, where I knew there is a chair. And even when I stood in the kitchen, I had a chair. I had everywhere chairs to brush my teeth, and so, because I always got this dizziness, and then it was great. It was like a party for me in this wheelchair when I had
Yeah.
this five
I remember
steps.
that. You shared the wind in the winds channel,
Yeah.
and I remember that the elevator breaking, and then you said, "You know what? I'm gonna try walking," and that's when
Mhm.
you pretty much overcame that fear, and you proved to yourself that, wow, I can do this, and if I
Yeah,
respond well, it's going to be okay. I won't crash,
yeah,
because, like you said, prior to that, the furthest you really walked was maybe to your kitchen or on the balcony, right?
yeah,
But this is the first time you really used your legs, so massive
yeah.
breakthrough.
Yeah. And this unnecessary fear comes from the guilt that you are responsible when you crash. Yeah. And this is so crazy. And it's definitely wrong. Yeah.
hmm So you had that big breakthrough. And then
Hmm.
what happened after that? Did you have a big adjustment period after that? Or it really just helped build the momentum and plant the seed of momentum for you?
Yeah. Yeah. That was it. It was really, it planted the seed. Yeah. And then I started to walk each day for 5 minutes on the patio, and I started to sit upright at lunch at the table and so on. And then Christmas came, and I tried out everything. Then what I liked most at that time was thinking in a gray way instead
Yeah.
of black and white
You're
thinking.
introduced that
And
around
yeah,
Christmas time.
this was my gray Christmas time, because I did a little bit of everything. Yeah, a little bit baking cookies, a little bit playing the piano, a little bit playing with the children, a little bit doing in the kitchen, and so on. And everything worked. And we had a lot of family visits at our house, and I had 18 good days. It was absolutely fascinating for me. That was also a click. Yeah, it works. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. And
Yeah.
you also had a breakthrough shortly after that, right? Where you walked up a hill. I think it
Mhm.
was it 400 meters or something? 800 meters?
I guess it was altogether 800 meters, but we took a break at a bar. It was at New Year's Eve. I could go to this
Yeah. That's
wonderful church in Nuremberg with where our friend plays the organ. And after that, my husband said, "So now we go home." And I said, I like to try to walk up on the hill to the Nuremberg castle. It's wonderful there with the lights and so on." And after around 300 or 400 meters, we stopped at a bar, had a drink, and then we went on and walked very slowly. And at that time, I had horrible back pain because my back muscles were so
yeah.
weak, and they couldn't
Deconditioned, right?
handle all this walking. Yeah, but it was wonderful to walk up that hill and to feel life again. Yeah, I think the endorphins were jumping inside my blood.
Yeah. Oh man, I remember seeing that. The coaches, we all message each other because we have a chat, and we said, look at Suzanne. She walked up the hills. She walked 800 meters. She's doing it." And I think it's because you put so much into those tasks early on in the early weeks. Doing
Mhm.
the exercises. You even took it a step further and turned it into affirmations. And every day you're listening to it. You're writing out your vision. So this didn't happen by accident or out of luck. You deliberately, rewired a lot of your brain neural pathways, so with all of this, as you were making all this progress and a lot of things were changing, in just a short span of time, what was Thomas's reaction to all of this? He must have been ecstatic.
Absolutely. He can't believe it. Yeah. As I told you, he's sometimes tears in his eyes, and then it's like in a dream or in another life. Yeah. But he said, "I was always hopeful. I was convinced you will get healthy." So, okay. Yeah. Happy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. So for you, it's been about 5 months since you've been with us, so not too long. But what do you think the most helpful things were in terms of being in the program? Like, was it the one-on-one coaching calls? Was it being in a community? Was it learning the science, or like a little bit of everything? What were the biggest things that helped for you, you think?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. But I appreciate the way you coaches work with the groups and with the people very, very much. I myself am a coach, and you are all younger than me. And I was at the beginning a little bit skeptical. Oh, how will you do coaching? But you are also understanding. You have such a great knowledge about this stuff. You are able to bring this knowledge to the people in different ways. Yeah, the one with more visualizations, the other one with more metaphors and stories. And what I find really very helpful is that you all went through this journey. Yeah, you all were very severe sick, and this is so trustworthy to listen to you and to what you achieve.
Recently, you've been doing some bigger activities, right? What would you say the biggest activity you've done is um, since starting? Because I know you go on long walks and things like that, but
Yeah,
what
yeah,
is the
the
biggest thing?
longest. Yeah. Um, in January, I was in Switzerland in the mountains on my own in an apartment, and I went for walks each day. And walking in the snow is difficult. Yeah, it's more difficult than without snow.
Yeah.
That was great because I had to walk very slowly, but I was very proud of myself to walk through the snow. It was cold and so on. And in February, we had a long family walk, and that was the longest. Normally it takes 25 minutes, but we needed 1 hour because of the children who walked with us, and because of myself, I needed a lot of benches to have breaks. But I made it to walk almost 2 kilometers back and forth. Yeah, so that was my longest way, and the youngest way.
Life, because you get to do
Yeah,
so much
yeah,
more, right? So
yeah.
how do you think your mindset has changed, since learning all of this and making all this progress? Like, how do you view life differently, or how do you do things differently now with everything you've learned?
Mhm. Yeah. Um, at the moment, I have the feeling I create a Susanne 3.0. Yeah, I don't want to be the businesswoman I was before I got sick, and I don't want to be as I was sick. I'm quite calm. I still have my days where I can't be so calm, but I live my life more relaxed now. I think my life is a kind of gift for me. Yeah, that I can do what I can do now, and so I enjoy each day that I have, and I'm very mindful. I try to be mindful. Sometimes the old busy woman wants to come back, but this is what I'm still learning. I'm at the 4th month in the program, and there are some months coming, and it's very good that the program is not only to be more physically active, but you think also about your values and your way you think about life, and to go on with other people and so. And I like that very much to do this. And so my mind is still, changing and becoming more strong. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like it.
you're still evolving, and you're absolutely right. It's, it's something we do is we help you get rid of the symptoms, overcome
Mhm.
CFS, but also a big piece is reintegrating back into life. It's like, how do you get back into working? How do you start socializing again in a healthy way, a more sustainable way, so that way you don't,
Mhm.
burn out or hit that wall and then relapse in the
Mhm.
future. So
Mhm.
reintegrating back into life is so
Mhm.
huge. So
Yeah.
right now, I mean, what are you excited about coming up with all this new capacity you have, and you're able to work more and do more physical things? Anything
Mm.
exciting planned that's coming up?
One of my biggest goal is, and what the most important goal of this program is for me, is to become independent again, to be able to go by car on my own to Switzerland, for example. And at the moment, I depend on my husband to drive me wherever I want to go. Yeah, and I would like to be able to go by train for a longer journey. So I like it to go on my own through the world, and I'm looking forward doing this. Yeah, and regarding work, I actually decided I don't want to work more. I will be more present. When we have bigger events with the clients, but I delegated it greatly to my colleagues. They do a very good job, and I'm 57, almost 60. I like to be an active granny and to work half time with this cross mentorship program. I love it. It's my favorite project, and then I like to use the time for piano and walking and just being, not doing. Yeah, and I think this is good to stay where I am. Financially, it's everything fine, so I can keep it like it is.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
not necessarily adding on more to your plate, but just higher quality,
No.
being more present during those
Yeah.
activities, right?
Yeah.
I'm the same
Yeah.
way. Before, I used to think working longer hours means more productivity, but it gets to a point of diminishing returns. I could get more done in 6 hours than I can do in 12 hours sometimes, because it's more focused, more
Yeah.
present work. And I think for people like us, and there's a lot of people who get CFS, they are very involved in businesses. They have businesses. So, what's some advice you can give to people who are maybe they're pushing through, but they're getting worse and worse with CFS because they feel like they have to keep their business going, and they can't
Mhm.
let go and they can't delegate and they have to control everything. What are some
Mhm.
things that helped you kind of let go of that and trust your team and navigate that?
Yeah. Yeah, that was not easy to delegate, but what I realized was it is important that you decide to do it fully, 100%. The first time I started to tell clients I won't do this project, this might will do colleague X, no? And they said no, we want to work with you. And then I decided I won't work anymore because it's not good for my health. And then we said, I'm only in the management. Yeah, I do conceptual work. We told this to the clients, and then I could delegate it easily. That was not no problem anymore. You have to be convinced that it is important for you to delegate more, to focus on your health, to prioritize recovery. And then you should start to do what you need to do to recover and not to
Hmm.
push through. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not good. It's good to keep something going, yeah, because might be good for your mental health, yeah,
Yeah.
that you have something, yeah, and you know I can go back to my business or I can even do another business after that, like you did. But yeah, it's good to have an identity. I have a purpose in life and
Yeah.
to stay
And I think
active. Yeah.
that's huge, is having that purpose, but also learning
Hmm.
to, like you said, prioritize your health. Because,
Hmm.
we can work so hard at something to keep it alive, like a business or whatever. But without the health, that is the foundation of everything. Everything else crumbles. And when you're bedridden and you're in a crash, sometimes you just think, I would give up everything just to have my health back. But sometimes it takes us reaching that limit to realize that and wake up and then make those
Yeah.
drastic changes. So,
Yeah.
you know, I always tell people, and I see it, once they get to the other side of CFS and they start recovering and really building the 2 or 3.0 version of themselves, they're actually thankful for the experience because it taught them so many lessons that caused them to implement changes in their lives that they never would have done. Right. So for you, it was a long journey and you're
Yeah.
still on that journey, but towards the tail end. But I'm sure you've pulled out so many valuable lessons after all these years of hardships, right? So, there's a lot of people watching this right now and
Hmm.
they've had CFS for maybe a few months, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years. You're somebody who's dealt with it for almost 2 decades. You tried so many different things. What are some words of encouragement you could share with somebody who's still on that journey in the trenches, still kind
Hmm.
of lost, and they're looking at you and they're saying, how did she do that? What's some advice you could share with them?
Hmm. Yeah, I would advise never give up. Yeah, stay hopeful. There might be a solution for you, and try to find a program which works for you. And I think some people aren't able to understand English. If you have problems to understand English, find someone who helps you to translate it, because there are still in Europe almost no programs in the native languages of Europe. So find a program what works for you and schedule a call with Miguel or with some other guy who offers a program, and try to find help and prioritize your recovery. That would I
Mhm.
recommend for
Yeah.
me.
And with all the free information online, even the information that we put out, I think everybody has
Hmm.
the access to the information required to recover. But with extra help, it just makes it go by a lot faster. So for you, for example, if you hadn't worked with the coaches and just try to do this on your own, where do you think you would be right now if you just did it on your own?
Yeah, I think I would still be stuck, changing couch to bed and sunbed, yeah, and hoping that a miracle happens. Yeah, I didn't find anything else since I am in your program. What I appreciate very much is that there are a lot of programs coming up. So these millions of people all around the world will find something which can help them. Yeah, you can't help everybody. Yeah, and each one needs somebody who fits well to him or
Mhm.
her. Yeah? This is great that the information gets more and more out in the internet about brain
Yeah.
retraining and the nervous system.
There's so many solutions online right now, and then people
Hmm.
will find what resonates with them. And
Yeah,
I always tell people, if you find something that it makes sense to you and you feel that
yeah.
gut feeling that, hey, this seems like it's what I've been looking for, give it a shot. Just give it a shot, because you never know, it could be the thing that um, turns your life around, right?
Hmm.
Despite
Hmm.
someone being sick, you could be sick for 19 years, kind of like you were,
Hmm.
but you took the leap of
Hmm.
faith.
Yeah,
You saw the recovery
yeah, and
stories, and you turn
yeah.
it around.
Mhm. And what I appreciate also very much what you do is you do these free trainings on YouTube or Facebook. Yeah, you did it last Sunday, and you said, "Oh, guys, let's do another step on Saturday." Yeah, and
Yeah.
this is a great opportunity for people with less money. This is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So much free content out there. There's,
yeah.
you know, opportunities for different levels of access to the coaches we have now. We have
Mhm.
also have the academy, which is doing great. Recovery Academy. Recovery Academy Platinum, which used to be Jumpstart.
Mm.
But, you've obviously made a lot of progress. If you had to narrow it down to one thing, what would you say was the biggest mind shift for you? Some people it's, learning that it's just the nervous system. Some people it's, just focus on responding well to symptoms. What is that big thing for you if you had to choose one?
Yeah, I would choose your recovery depends on how well you react on symptoms. And I will show you, I took pieces of paper and I wrote the most important messages on these pieces of paper. I put it on the wall in the bedroom and here in the living room. These are my two most important messages I wanted to see and listen to all the time. Even if the pain comes, the pain comes, and to say, now it's the time, smiling, listening to good music, and moving safely. And this is the most important thing you can do, to give your limbic system a good message that it will recover and the nervous system will come into a good regulation. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
with that,
That's
I would,
perfect. So those two things I just said, those are the ones you wrote
yeah,
out and put everywhere.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
those are pretty much the foundational things. If you understand
Mhm.
it's just the nervous system, and you also
Mhm.
understand that, okay, I just have to focus on responding well to symptoms,
Mhm.
those two together, that alone is enough to recover
Yeah,
if you just focus on
yeah.
those. So
Mhm. And
that explains
yeah,
why you're doing so
two
well.
other things come to my mind. I show you a picture, which was in your material of this. You need to be very, very patient and to know that recovery. Have you seen it? This
Yeah,
man
it's rock.
with the rock. Yeah, yeah. And you have to be very patient. Recovery doesn't happen in immediately. This is an exception that it happens so quickly in my situation. Some people need 8 months until the first win they have, and you need to be patient, and also you need to be disciplined. You need to go back to week 1 when you realize at week 8, oh God, nothing happens, and I freak out when I get symptoms. So this is also an important skill what you need to get into recovery, to be structured, goal oriented. It's not so easy. Not everybody has that resources. Yeah. So.
Hmm. Yeah, so powerful. It's keeping it
Mhm.
simple, but also following the system. Following the
Mhm.
system and bringing it back to basics.
Mhm.
Uh, and going back to review the content, because sometimes we'll forget, we'll overthink,
Yeah.
and we'll be like, wait a minute, week 2, no, there was that video. Week 3, there was that video. You could rewatch it, and then it
Yeah.
reminds you to just follow the system. It's predictable, and that's what's cool about this is, you know, we have a system that is highly predictable that can lead to success, right?
Mhm.
Recovery no longer has to be up to luck or just waiting. Uh,
Yeah.
Time won't fix this, as you've learned. It's actually doing things with your brain and retraining it manually. And it's
Yeah.
little things like listening to those affirmations, writing down your vision for the future, or writing down those reminders and putting it around the house and believing it too. That's the big thing.
Mhm.
Believing
Yeah.
those things, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
my last question for you, Susanne, is so far, would you say it's been a good investment into the program?
Yes, it's really a very good investment.
Yeah.
Mhm. I'm
Life
happy that I did it. Hmm?
yeah. Life-changing investment. So, yeah, well, thank you so much, Susanne. This time went by very quickly. It's almost been an hour, but for you people watching this right now, I hope you enjoyed this. This is Susanne, and this is just proof that even in later stages in life, even at the age of 57, having this for 19 years and having doctors tell her that, sorry, you can't recover, and going through the gauntlet of medical testing and trying so many different things, she has turned it around. And it's because she never gave up. She kept on going, even when people were telling her you can't recover. She believed in it. She also had a great support system who believed in her husband, Thomas. And it's just proof that no matter what you're going through on this journey, you can make a comeback no matter what age you are if you follow the principles. So Susanne, it's been a pleasure. So proud of you and how far you've come in just 4 months. And I can't wait to do our next recovery update interview in another handful of months when you're doing even more things and you've gone on all these trips. So hope you guys enjoy this one. If you resonated with any of this, if you're from Germany, we have a lot of Germans here, comment down below what your biggest takeaway from this was. And if you did need some extra help, if you wanted some guidance, so you could also be a recovery story, click the link down below. You can apply for the program, see if you're a good fit, see if it resonates with you. If not, totally fine. But if it is a good fit, then we would love to help you go from surviving to thriving so you can get your life and your health back. So always remember that you are a thriver and you are just one mind shift away from living life with thriving health. We'll see you guys in the next video. Susanne, thank you so much for your time and can't wait for the next chat we have. Take it easy.
Thank you so much, Miguel. Thank you.